Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Hemant Kumar Tiwari.
Thank you very much. Good morning to all of you. My name is Hemant Tiwari and I manage the Indonesia Enterprise, Hewlett-Packard Enterprise entity in this country. So it's been an exciting time, lots of things happening in our world, as we heard from previous speakers as well. And within the world of Hewlett-Packard as well, a lot of exciting things have been happening over a period in time. So before I get into the topic of security, I would share with you what is going on within HP. HP was split into two companies and we started effectively working as two separate listed entities in the US from 2nd November 2015. So this is our first week as we are running as two separate companies, Hewlett-Packard Enterprise, which I represent here, and HP Incorporated. HP Incorporated is in the business of mobile devices, desktop, laptops and tablets, and also printing technologies. Whereas Hewlett-Packard Enterprise is actually in the enterprise business, and our prime business is around enterprise products like server, storage, networking, cloud, enterprise security, big data, and of course enterprise services. So that's a business that we are in, and this separation was successfully done over the last 9 months. It's a record time, the largest ever separation in the history of industry. So I'll just play a small video introducing Hewlett-Packard Enterprise. Volume. Volume, please. Even as they're setting the volume, let me continue further sharing what we are doing. So Hewlett-Packard Enterprise is basically in the business of helping our customers to address most of their complex problems by enabling the enterprise with the enterprise compute, storage, and networking technologies, primarily helping our customers to manage the IT environment that they have and the current challenges of making that IT environment from a very rigid silo data center approach to a very agile, adaptable, and on-demand infrastructure environment. So that's our prime business. And that is what we are enabling our company to basically begin. The company is a $53 billion company headed by our CEO, Meg Whitman, who was earlier heading the company for 4 years, which was a combined HP entity. She was the chairman of the board of HP as well earlier. She now runs the Hewlett-Packard Enterprise company as the CEO, and she's also on part of HP Incorporated as the chairman of the board of HP Incorporated.
And to help you accelerate, we've created a new company. One totally focused on what's next for your business. A true partnership where people, technology, and ideas push everyone forward. Accelerating innovation, accelerating transformation, accelerating next. Hewlett-Packard Enterprise.
Well, that's Hewlett-Packard Enterprise, and a quick insight into what we are basically doing. So we believe that, in the new era of ideas economy, and I will define as to what we mean by ideas economy in the next slides, true partnership and collaborative people with empowering technologies and transformating ideas, when they meet together, they accelerate business growth, they push all of us, and they help us to go further, faster. Our basic prime motive is, and the core values on which we are doing this is partnership first with our customers, with our partners, and all the stakeholders who are together there in our business. Very clearly, empowering technologies is the second, then bias for action. So we don't sit idle. We actually run to fire and we look at opportunities and possibilities and leverage on them. So that's bias for action. And of course, breakthrough innovative, innovations is our third core value, on the basis of which we are building our new Hewlett-Packard Enterprise entity. We are a very well diversified company. enterprise group which basically comprises of servers, storage, networking, is actually about 50%, and cloud is about 50% of our business. 37% is enterprise services, 7% is software, and of course 6% is HP financial services. So these are all businesses that form Hewlett-Packard Enterprise. We are a financially very sound company, positive cash flow of $11 billion, $5.5 billion on cash in the bank. So it's a financially very strong entity and a very focused entity now with the split, very, very clear about where we want to go, which market we want to address, what we want to address in customer environment, and how do we build on our core strength of infrastructure technology. So that's our basic focus. All right. So what is different in the HP of the yesteryears versus the HP of today? Clearly, we are now doing everything based on customer outcomes. We do whatever we do with a very clear eye on what outcomes we deliver for our customers. So, today the infrastructure is not about silo infrastructure, and for applications it is not one size which fits all. Now it's a question of delivering infrastructure which is converging on one place and which is composable if you are looking at a cloud-based environment, from an infrastructure perspective, where you can assemble infrastructure together for application need at a given point in time and disassemble or decompose that infrastructure and give it back, to the pool of resources. So this is where we are heading, and this is a big area of our transformative technologies that we are bringing to the market to help address our end customer requirements. Very clearly, the portfolio matters a lot. We have a very huge pipeline of new innovations that we are bringing to the market. One of the biggest inventions that HP lab is working for the last few years, and which is likely to hit the market in probably 2018-19, is the machine. And this is basically fundamentally change the way the compute is done in this world. And it is going to be a real big next breakthrough from an HP perspective. All right, our point of view of how the world is moving. So we've heard about a lot about people talking about the economy being a mobility economy or digital economy or internet-based economy. We believe it's an ideas economy, today's world. Ideas have always formed the basis for anything. Ideas have always been behind new businesses coming up. Ideas have always been behind new products coming up. Ideas have always been behind new business models and new industries evolving over a period in time. The only difference is today, from idea to actuality, delivering either a business or a product or creating a totally new industry, the time has shrunk dramatically. It used to take years in the past. It has now gone down to months or sometimes even weeks in today's context. If you just take as an example urban mobility industry, companies like Uber or in our country Grab Taxi and many other services like those have completely changed urban mobility, the taxi companies across the world. And all this has happened in a matter of no time. People didn't even realize what was going on. At the same time, the difference between a company which is successful and a company which is not able to tap on the ideas is the one which is not able to execute fast enough. Now, I'll take the example of Uber, very simple. The same idea is available to regular taxi operators which are operating across the world, but they could not innovate and change themselves very fast. And the reason was fairly simple. The underlying technology on which they were working was not flexible enough. The IT infrastructures were not flexible enough. So they're not able to make the changes fast enough as Uber has done in their case. How do you enable enterprise to leverage on this whole host of data that is residing across the enterprise? Contextually aware, how do you get the data to become meaningful by delivering it almost on an online basis to the business users, where they can derive the right business insights to make the right decisions? And of course, we are living in a hyper-connected world. So how do we get our employees and partners to deliver better and superior customer experiences or employee experiences? And how do we make our employees become more efficient in what they do or our customers become more efficient in what they do? So all of this simply brings us to one very simple paradigm. The only thing of importance is time. The example that I took of Uber, they had a great idea. That idea is not something that somebody else could have not come in. The regular taxi industry also could have taken advantage. What did Uber do? They made use of technology available today. They made use of cloud. They made use of the mobile smartphones that were available, created an apps, and actually created a totally new business model. So this is something that was very easily available to all regular service taxi operators. How do they move newer applications to more agile, more on demand, more nimble, more faster and more flexible infrastructure, so that new business services and new business models can be much faster rolled out in the marketplace. And where we play is to basically be a broker, help optimize your current environment, and help you to actually modernize your applications, modernize your infrastructure, and deliver an adaptive on-demand infrastructure within the enterprise. And how do we bridge this gap? How we work with our customers to help them therefore transform to an internal private cloud, or it could be a virtual cloud, it could be virtual public cloud, it could be a public cloud, and how do we broker the various assets within the enterprise and outside, and how do we basically help get a unified experience across the enterprise. First was transforming to a hybrid infrastructure. The second is how do we help customers protect their digital enterprise. Third is, of course, how do we empower organizations with the data that is residing in their organizations and deliver insightful, meaningful information to business users. And lastly, how do we enable workplace productivity improvement and also enhancements of productivity for our enterprise customers. Coming quickly to the protecting the digital enterprise, which is the topic for the day. HP is fairly large, and we heard in previous presentations the proliferation of mobile devices, the proliferation of cloud, the applications that are currently being there everywhere. And we have moved away. There was a time when enterprise applications were fairly controlled. They were delivered in a controlled way, but all that has changed today. Today, people access applications from their own managed devices. They access across the cloud, and they access from anywhere and everywhere. We have Internet of Things basically connecting a whole lot of things to our enterprise. So there is threats and there is perceptions. Is not just a perception, it's a reality. And if an enterprise is not working proactively over time to protect and de-risk their enterprise from a whole host of threats that come in, it is just not the cyber geeks who attack your enterprise, but it's actually somewhere I read earlier. These are organized groups today, cyber criminals, who actually attack our enterprises. Nation states are doing it. In fact, one of the presentations earlier showed how nation states are attacking, the IT assets of various other governments and businesses, and they have vested interest. So we have to really understand the motivation behind who are the ones who are breaching security of enterprise, and what is the motivation that they are working with. Some of these organizations are working with profit motive, some others are working with the motive of information which they use for their own benefit. All right, as I said earlier, the world is changing very rapidly. Cloud and mobile have enabled access to enterprise from anywhere, any place, and our data is residing all over. There was a time where data was residing within the enterprise. Today it resides on people's devices, it resides on the cloud, and of course you get a lot of data from Internet of Things. Natural disasters create a problem for business continuity, and you've got to also therefore protect your enterprise from the perspective of how do you protect your data and how do you recover from your natural disasters. It is critical. We have to understand that the cost that we pay for a risk not being taken care of proactively is far much higher than doing it proactively. At the same time, people will come out with policies that will basically make sure that you do not use a whole host of technology. So risk cannot, so you cannot eliminate attack on your enterprise. A breach will happen. The matter is, the question is, when will the breach happen? And what do we do when a breach happens? How do we prevent a breach from happening is one, but if a breach happens, how do we shut down that particular breach and ensure that the enterprise is continuously running? How do we build the right tools, the right processes, the right policies within the organization? And how do we ensure that applications, data, and also devices that access those applications. We build a security across all over. So in the past, security was basically a context of an enterprise being seen as a vault, and security was built on the perimeter. But and that was when actually the threats, external threats, were not there in the marketplace. But today, situation is very different. The threat comes from within our enterprise. The threat comes from, of course, a whole host of social media that connects to our enterprise applications. The threat comes from mobile devices and so on and so forth. So it is extremely important that we protect our business, and we have developed a comprehensive set of tools within HP, comprehensive set of policies and processes. And then how do we manage risk that is arising out of all of this? How do we, protect digital interactions? And this is in different areas, but in simple way, we have a product by the name Fortify. HP Fortify actually monitors and helps harden applications for mobile apps or for enterprise applications, so on and so forth. So it's basically something that keeps breaching, and then you use that to, so those are the kinds of things that we need to do. Detect and manage very clearly. Once a threat happens, once a breach happens, how do we make sure that we manage the inevitable breaches? Analytics plays a big role here, and HP has technologies like ArcSight, which actually help do incident management, analytics on security breaches, and so on and so forth. And lastly, how do we safeguard continuity on one hand for the business, and of course, compliance to various things. So quickly to map all of these areas, as I said, HP Security Research basically tracks 100 billion transactions or events of security breach every month. And we share this with all our customers, with our partners with whom we work with, and a whole lot of stakeholders that we are working with. We are number one in public vulnerability discovery, 4th year in a row, as what I said just now. How do we encrypt data? So when mobile devices are there, how do we ensure HP Atala and HP Voltage products basically help encrypt the data in a very secure way, and the return on investment just by encryption is about 20%. HP ArcSight, as I said earlier, is for incident management, and implementation of HP ArcSight has seen IT outages go down by 85%, almost 900% in increase in the resolution of anomalies that arise from the security breaches. And lastly, we have solutions across the board for data backup and recovery. StoreOnce is one such solution that we offer, which delivers 17 times faster protection and 5 times faster recovery from a problem that happens in your organization. In simple terms, HP is the right partner for you to look at. We have a host of IP that we have at our end with us. We have 5,000 security, the consultants across the world. We are the number 2 company in security, by the way, both in terms of consultants and manpower, and of course in the business practice. And we have recently signed a partnership with FireEye and Mandiant, which is basically to offer, incident management and compromise assessment and, high, security threat assessment services as a service for our customers. Just a customer reference, HP and Microsoft have worked together in this area for many years, and Microsoft chose HP to be a strategic partner for building an end-to-end security environment that they come out to secure the devices and the operating system and the various products that they come out with. And it is not only just a one transaction customer, but actually it's a go-to-market model that we have put together with Microsoft. So just a video on what the Microsoft people say about HP and Microsoft. Volume, please.
In the last 15 years, IT services have evolved from a monolithic corporate-provided and corporate-controlled service offering into a much more diverse basket of user-owned devices, third-party services, and mobile corporate services.
When choosing a partner for Microsoft to protect customer data, it was really critical for us that the partner was not just providing point-based solutions, it was the integrated value across the broad spectrum, because we think about security as a defense in depth method. Having really great intelligence at the endpoints all the way from the device to the operating system to the application is really the best way we're going to have proactive and reactive defense capabilities to threats. HP was a provider that the capability that was there 4 years ago. So it's been super helpful for us.
It's allowed us to really automate a lot of the more fundamental tasks and speed up a lot of the more sophisticated response tasks that our SOC analysts have to perform, which means we need fewer people to do the same work.
The most important thing for us in the rate of change is how do we move security upstream in all the processes we do. And so things like HP Fortify is a great tool for us to actually move that up the development lifecycle.
HP and Microsoft are actively engaged in ensuring that the latest security technologies are fully integrated with the latest platform features that Microsoft releases.
We really were looking for a vendor that transcended to a partnership beyond the transaction. How do we share data? How do we share intelligence? How do we share operational procedures? And then how do we go to market with those together? Because we have to be aligned. And HP was a company who really fit that mold for us.
So that's one example. Microsoft is one of our largest customers and of course partners for go-to-market as well. There are many hundreds of thousands of customers that we work on securing the digital enterprise of our customers and build products together with them. Just one more example, City University of Hong Kong, 34,000 students, 3,500 staff, and they have a huge challenge of getting access for their students and staff into their internal private network. And that challenge was basically thrown to HP as to how do we help them accelerate access to their network for all new joinees. HP worked with ArcSight and some other tools from our side to actually implement proactive security management framework for this university, and the result was of course very quick access to their network for their students and their partners, and of course reduction in cost as well in managing the overall risk to their environment. So what do you do? Eventually, after what you have heard, where do you go and what do you do? One is, of course, HP is the right partner for you to look at to protect your digital enterprise. We have a very large consulting practice, as I said, 5,000 security consultants worldwide. We, of course, have 11 SOC security operations centers worldwide, which track and monitor security threats across the world on a round-the-clock basis. As I said, 11 billion transactions we track every month and share with our customers and partners. Lots of insight coming from there, lots of analytics that we do around them. So look at HP as your partner for getting a workshop conducted at the earliest within your organization if you want us to help you to basically put a framework for security end-to-end and not just a few products here and there. All right. So at the end, as I said, Hewlett-Packard Enterprise is the largest enterprise infrastructure player in the world. Behind our leadership position on servers and computing, number one worldwide, storage, overall storage number two, networking number two, cloud implementations and private cloud implementation number one, converged infrastructure number one, and enterprise services we are number two player across the world. So we're building on this strength and actually building the new company which is going to be relevant in the next stage of all our customers evaluation as we move on. All right, so that's about all that I wanted to share with all of you. Hewlett-Packard Enterprise is very much alive from 2nd November. Thank you very much for your time.